Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing? Welcome back to Stock Up with Larry Jones. I still got my man, bam, Josh with me right there.
Hey,
lean
guys.
in a little bit. Hey, we promised you guys we were going to talk about crypto a little bit, and that's what we're going to do. For those of you that are new to this page, this is Stock Up with Larry Jones. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. For those of you that's been rolling with me for a while, show me some love. Show Josh some love, all right? Show Josh some love in the comment section. Look, we're going to make this one straight and to the point. I'm going to have Josh talk about some things technically about crypto, Bitcoin, and then I'm going to end with some things fundamentally and go.
Nothing's going to really happen this week in the market or with crypto until we hear from the Fed on Wednesday. The whole market's waiting for that. And here's what we know that we're not seeing. We're not seeing a V-shaped recovery. We didn't get down to a price point on anything, stocks or crypto, that institutional buyers said, oh, we've got to own Bitcoin at this price, so we're gonna snatch it up. They're not interested. They're not interested until the conditions are right. And so what I'm looking at right now is that you could safely say that we may likely retest the bottoms that we've recently touched on Bitcoin and many of our favorite altcoins. What does this more or less mean? It means that we could still have already bottomed out, but we may have to go back and test that again to get a higher low. But the truth is, we won't know if the bottom's behind us until we get that pivot point of buyers with volume giving us that rocket move higher. And so it's just as possible that we could make lower lows on everything. Now, I know that's going to come off pretty bearish, but I just want you to think objectively that technically, I've said it many times, there's three factors to a bull run: price, volume, and momentum. And we still don't have volume on momentum at these low levels because they're not. I can qualify it very easily, Larry. What is FOMO? The fear of missing out. Does anyone have FOMO right now on Bitcoin?
Nope.
No. So that's the bottom line.
They're actually reevaluating the bags that they have.
Correct.
So it's the opposite of
that
FOMO.
Tells you everything you really need to know if you just stop and process that.
Yep. And so what people have now is fear and extreme fear. So you mentioned rockets. Well, they're hitting the Gaza Strip again, all right? War is ramping back up again, and that's having some weight on the market. Fed is going to be talking on tomorrow. The meeting starts today. Fed is going to be talking tomorrow, right? And you got all of these things happening. The tariff situation hasn't gotten any better.
Not in any way.
And then when war starts back, the tariffs and all of that gets lumped back into that with the fear, right? And then here we go with the selling, right? And here we go with the downward markets. I was buying some more of FundStrat ETF today, Josh, like I was telling you, and I bought some more VUG. I let people in Money Moves know that, and we were buying it at the bottom of the day because it's back down in that range where I like to buy. But I will tell you this about crypto, and I want you to make a statement about XRP, Bitcoin and XRP, like 1 minute. So look at it where it is right now, because I know a lot of people are here that just about everybody I'm talking to is going to have some money in XRP. And I agree with Josh. I believe Bitcoin may revisit the bottom. Tom Lee, again, was correct. He thought, 76, and Bitcoin hit 76. And I'm going to say this cycle, Josh, is the hardest cycle to fight for your crypto. Out of every cycle, this one is the most difficult.
It has been, especially with the altcoins, because we never got an altcoin season. And some people are just saying, give up on that. The patterned seasons and the cyclical nature of crypto may be at an end. I'm not calling that just yet, but we got to acknowledge that this has not worked so far.
Yeah. And we've never had, and we're not even going to mention the rug pull that we had with the meme coins, but we've never had government this deeply involved in crypto. There has never been an American summit. As a matter of fact, the guy that was in there before this was anti-crypto, the SEC. And so we've never had this deeper involvement that actually controlled the price of all crypto, right?
Can I throw this out, Larry?
Please.
I mean, talk about rug pull for a moment. I haven't actually said this publicly, but even the fact that XRP, ADA, and I forget the third one that was listed.
So it was XRP,
ADA, was it Solana?
It was Solana.
Yeah, Solana.
Yep.
Even that was a rug pull, guys.
It was.
Okay, because when you say something's going to be in a governmental basket and get a fast pass through regulation, and then the next day they're like, oops, no, it's going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah.
That's a psychological altcoin rug pull, fam.
And then from the family, you guys should be loading up on ETH. That was another rug pull.
It was.
It was just not good after not good after not good after not good. It just wasn't good. You just can't put lipstick on that pig.
So I agree with what Larry's saying.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of tough events to process, but I do want to say this, that if we take a step back and we look at where we came from 2021 down to the 2022 lows,
right?
Bitcoin did it again.
It did it again.
It did it again.
You know what I'm surprised of? And this is what a lot of people are not looking at. I'm surprised right now that Bitcoin is not under 74.
Me too. We went from 15,500 to 110,000 roughly. And if you are in any way bummed out about Bitcoin or crypto, you're not seeing the big
You're not
picture.
zoom out.
Because we have so much freaking opportunity. And we're not talking, it's not 5 years away or 10 years away.
Right.
A lot of this can be completely set up for massive gains in a couple years.
Exactly.
So I'm not bummed. Bitcoin proved to us again that it could do it again. And the fact is, XRP had an incredible run. People won't get mad at me because I'm suggesting that the move from 30 cents to almost $4, people want more. But the fact is, that's an incredible game-changing move. And those types of opportunities are still ahead of us.
I want you to say something positive about XRP because I'm going to say something positive about XRP.
Well, I can say, I'll comment briefly on the technicals.
Okay,
I'll
you
just
do that and
this.
then I'll say something about it.
I know charts. I feel pretty decent about knowing my charts. And the fact is that the trend on XRP is bearish and going down and has not signaled a reversal. And so what does that mean exactly? It just means the trend is your friend until the end. And you've got to respect and accept that price is truth. And right now, the trend is going down and it doesn't have price, volume, or momentum. Suggesting a turnaround. Will it turn around? I'd like to believe so. But that's the facts on the chart in my eye right now.
Okay, I want you to get a number to where you think XRP is going to end this year. Ballpark it. All right,
tough.
I'm putting you on the spot. I said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. All right, so I'll clear the way.
Ahead.
Number one, hear this XRP on me. I have XRP, and I am pro XRP. All right, I'm pro XRP. I want you guys, please, somebody say this. Larry is pro XRP, but he's realistic. I'm going to tell you this about XRP, right? As far as use case, I believe it's one of the most solid use cases out of all cryptos out there, period. But to me, the strength is in the stable coin if you understand processing and if you understand the importance of having a stable coin in the processing. I'm going to do a whole video on that, right, with XRP. And XRP has positioned himself well. What scares me is the overhyping of XRP, right? So let me say this. If XRP was going to get to $100, it'd be at 50 right now. Where is, you know what? If XRP was going to get to $100, let me bag that off. Based on it being an altcoin, it'd be at $30 right now.
I see your point.
It'd be at $30 right now. With all of the positive news that have since the court of 2021, right? Since the SEC holding it back, if XRP was going to be $100 this cycle, it'd be at $30 right now. Look at where Bitcoin is, and let's say if Bitcoin gets to 150 this year, then XRP needs to be at $30 right now to get to 100.
Yeah.
And trust me, I understand tokenomics extremely well. I understand market cap extremely well. I understand it better than the person that's about to make that comment. I understand it. I study this all day long. Trust me. I do understand it. But I'm telling you that if you understand tokenomics and you understand use case and you understand what has happened in the past, cycles and everything else, and where we are right now with crypto, you emphatically should know that XRP is not getting to $100 this cycle. As a matter of fact, and I said it on yesterday, which is good news, I'd be surprised if it surpasses 1550. And that's on the high end. And if you, let me finish by saying this, and I want you to say what you, if you are buying XRP at these prices and you are blessed enough for it to get to 1550, you have just killed it with XRP. And if you don't see that, then you're about to fall for the okie doke.
Yeah, so there's a handful of models that you can use to determine, based on charts and based on price performance, to determine where a price might go. You've got moving average models, you've got Fibonacci models, you've got AI models, and I'll tell you that the top two that I rely on, that I consider to be genuinely reliable, are your moving average,
around $5,
and your your moving average and your Fibonacci's. Okay, now these, you know, this is the nature of the universe. It's this shape of the solar system. It's the shape of a seashell. It's the shape of a wave. It's the root systems in a tree. That's the Fibonacci, right? Not to get too complicated. It's mathematical, and it tends to have these areas that work for stocks as well. That's why you hear people talking about trading the fib levels. You look at these two models. You look at these two models, and they point to XRP getting to roughly $4 this cycle.
$4 or $5. Just like I said. And I know it. I looked at that. And it's $4 or $5. And I was being generous at 15.
And so to say this, the truth is I'm a technical trader, and I don't care about if XRP rules the world and becomes a global currency. That's not for me. That's for other people. I'm a chart guy. So I'm gonna trade this when price reverses, and I'm gonna trade it up to levels that are technically predictable, and I'm gonna leave all the other stuff to the Michael Saylors and the other guys who like to think outside the box. I'm comfortable in the realm of the technicals. The technicals tell me that if this did give us a reversal, we're around $2.20. And if we dipped beneath $2 and got it at $1.90, then we have the potential of running it up for another 100% gain up to around $4. And you don't have to sell then. You can just raise your stop loss to $1.75 and let it choose whether you get kicked out. So I, like Larry, consider XRP to be one of the winning altcoins of this crypto cycle, and deserves respect, and it deserves to be on my sheet of stuff that I'm willing to trade to make $1. However, you know, I can't go beyond that, Larry. That's just where my limitations are.
So what I'm saying is, let it stand on its own legs, and you gotta understand who's pushing. I'll say this in closing. If you go in and all your friends go in and buy, you know, $500 worth, $5,000 worth, or even $50,000 worth, one whale can come in with his buddies and buy up way more than you, just like that. One whale can take $10 million and buy $10 million worth in one day, right? Just one whale, and there's going to be many whales. And then what you got to understand is they control the media that keeps making these posts that is going to $100. So you start chasing $100, and all they want to do is double their money.
Well, and remember, guys,
and they're going to get out. Where is it at right now?
$2.20.
So if they buy that $2.20 and it goes to $4.40, they've just turned 1 million into 2 million. They're the whales. And then when you take 10 million, I'm saying 10 million into 20 million. So then what happens is, if you sell your bags, you're not going to see any movement in the chart, right?
Nope.
But if somebody does a $10 million dump on it, are you going to see a red candle? If somebody does a 20, and he calls all his friends, so now you're talking about $120 million, $200 million dump at the same time, because this is what they do. Then you're going to see a bunch of red candles, right? Then What happens when the consumers start to see a bunch of big red candles all back to back? What are they going to be doing? Are they going to be buying or selling? They're going to be selling.
Yeah. Can I throw a quick story out, Larry? This is kind of important. I
Yeah.
remember back in the .com era, that was back in 2000 when everything fell apart. At that time, the hottest thing was internet companies.
Yep.
And I remember watching CNBC, and a company that was going to sell shoes online had launched a website, and it got like a $1 billion valuation.
Yeah.
And they had never even sold shoes before. They had just
Yeah.
made a website.
Yeah.
And that is sort of the way cryptos are now, is these
Yeah.
are use cases that one day could be like a future Amazon. But in many cases, it was just, they literally copied another blockchain, and they basically put out a marketing team, and they, and the fact is that it's not a technology that is producing high profits like Apple stock, where it's got earnings statements every quarter, and you're getting to get an analysis of whether profit margins are shrinking or increasing. None of that exists here, folks.
I thought we were supposed to be a positive experience.
Well, I'm just telling you
I know. Go ahead.
that
No,
I'm just telling you that you've got to have a understanding, a broader understanding
Yes.
than you do,
And because
Wall
you go make
Street-
money
Well, and I
if
wanted
you
to
gotta
comment, Larry.
understand.
The millionaires you're talking about, they know what I'm talking about.
They know it.
So if they go in and they're purely viewing it as a speculative play, and they drop in $10 million at $2.20, and then they turn around and sell it at $4.20, and they made another $10 million.
Yep.
That's good business all day long.
All day long. And you know how they're going to make. And then this is what kills me, because they do this in the stock market. Then they will turn around and issue a report and call you dumb money because of emotional trading. But they're the ones that set you up for the emotional trading.
Yeah, they paid big bucks.
Yes. And they get richer yet again. And I said this before, more people will lose money with XRP than win.
Yep.
And because the greater amount of purchasing of XRP is going to be when you see a day when it goes up 100%.
And
that's when the
Yeah.
chasers will come, and
And
it's
I
going to be
wanna
more of them
add
that
to that.
already have
Yeah.
what we have.
And just say this, that XRP deserves to be talked about right now, because it's got so many eyes are on it, that when this does begin to move, it'll become a juggernaut.
Yep.
And so, you just need to have your own specific trade plan, like the whales and like everybody else. When are you going to sell? When are you going to take profit?
Yeah.
If you want to hold some indefinitely, just
Yeah.
remember that this could go back to 30 cents, where it spent the majority of its time. That's what's called accumulation. So, hey, it is what it is. Okay? So you have to have your own
But you're not talking
trade
about
plan.
right now.
No.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in the winter.
Okay.
And it's when
Not physical winter for you newbies.
no, it's a
crypto
winter, right?
Yes.
Which is at bare minimum a year away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all of the altcoins, not just some, all of them go down 90 to 98%.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that say this time is different. Well,
Right.
we already had a difference in
Yes.
this time, is
Yes.
that the altcoins didn't really pump.
Right.
So, just keep in mind.
And why, when it goes down by 80 to 90%, then most of you listening to me won't want to touch it.
No.
And even the ones that's been through a cycle or two, still
Yeah.
mentally
It's hard.
difficult. It's hard.
Because it's something that's
Yes.
been dying on the vine, rotting slowly
Nobody wanted
away,
to touch
and
it.
nobody wants it.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to touch Bitcoin when it was 18.
Yep.
Nobody wanted to touch it when it was 20. It's garbage. It's
Nobody wanted to
gone.
buy Doge or SHIB when it was Doge
when I did it.
0.09.
Yep.
It
Yep.
had been down at that price forever.
Ever.
Then it went up 300%.
Yep.
Right? Nobody wanted to touch it, but that
Yep.
event will come again. And so
Yeah.
I would say, well, what do? Accumulate cash, get prepared for that event. And
Boom.
right now, the fact is this crypto cycle isn't over. I'm
Right.
still expecting an additional pump. However,
Mm-hmm.
the technicals don't point to that happening just yet. It could happen. It could be news-based. And if we get that news, that catalyst, which is all
Right.
tariff wars have been concluded, all real wars have been concluded, and the Fed says, guess what, guys? I'm lowering rates
That's
to
it.
celebrate all
Right.
of
We're going
these-
to give you 3
Yeah.
rate cuts this year.
you know what? The market would rip. So
would rip.
we've got to watch
Yep.
these factors. And you know where I'd be going with my money?
Yep.
I'd be loading up on some XRP.
There you
because
go.
I would know that.
I hope you stuck around and heard that.
Yeah,
Because
that-
we could have a V-shaped recovery. Tariffs are lifted. Peace in both. No more bombing of the strip. And Zelensky and Putin come to an agreement. And tariffs are off. Boom. V-shaped recovery, stocks and crypto.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna leave it right there. Hey
All right,
man,
guys.
we're gonna have to do a Zoom
Yes.
and just have another
Yes.
one.
Great,
Yep.
great video, Larry. I loved it.
All right, so don't try to right now in this cycle. Don't try to get rich quick. Take your time and get wealthy. That's all. I'm gonna leave it right there. Hey, money moves. We're gonna be building. We're in the building process. So if you're expecting a lot of movement, you may want to wait. I'm just being honest with you. I don't oversell. But if you really want to learn and earn, like even right now, I'm talking about what I'm doing, repositioning and setting up and getting ready. And we're going to get more into teaching. And then we're going to have a lot of hot plays. But we want you to get a solid foundation. Love you guys. Live, love, laugh, and learn. Make sure you show Stocks with Josh some love. All right, good people. If you like this, let us know. We'll see you later. Live, love, laugh, and learn.